Well, moving on now to our next story. It is pretty hard to imagine a world without plastic. It pretty much does everything. It keeps our food fresh. It can even protect medicine. It's in all kinds of consumer products that we use, including electronics and even pens like this one, Alex.
But plastic is also a major global environmental headache, polluting roads and waterways. VOA's Rosanne Skirble sat down with me to talk about this plastic problem and what's being done about it.
First of all, I want you to know, and our listeners to know, that plastics is great. It's revolutionized our world. It keeps our food fresh. It protects medicine. But it's in everything from electronics to fountain pens. And it's a $374 billion industry in the United States alone. However, what happens is a lot of the plastics, especially the disposables, are ending up in our creeks, in our rivers and waterways, first on our roads, and then they move their way into our oceans. This same story plays out globally every single day. A trail of plastic washes from roads and sidewalks into streams and rivers, eventually making its way to beaches and oceans. It accumulates and never goes away. That's because it's synthetic and does not biodegrade. It just simply breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces, says Nancy Wallace, who heads the Marine Debris Program for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Humans cause the problem, and humans can solve it, she adds.
By using less single-use items, by recycling our items, by disposing of those properly and making sure that they're going where they should be going, we can really make a huge difference. It's really about caring about the environment and knowing that we are the ones that impact it.
And speaking of some of these plastics that we find in our waterways, you have some items here today.
Yes, I had the great fortune of going on a cleanup on the Mississippi River, one of the largest river systems in the world. And these are two items that I brought back with me, both plastic. One very much a symbol, Mickey Mouse, a symbol of the United States. And the other belonged to a doll. I just got her foot. But I rescued her foot from becoming debris in the ocean.
Right, because you have, any fish or other animal could swallow this.
Well, not only swallow this, but what happens to this? This is plastic. Let's go back to basics.
Yeah.
Plastics is synthetic. It doesn't biodegrade. Anyway, what happens to it is it breaks down into smaller and smaller bits. And these smaller and smaller bits are then ingested in the fish. And then it just travels up the food chain. And eventually we go to our supermarket and we purchase the fish. We trust that the fish don't have plastic in them, but some of the chemicals that are from the plastic or leach onto the chemicals that are already in the ocean, can go into the fish.
What's the solution here then? This UN report, they have an idea, right?
The United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi put out a report, the one that you're referring to is called Valuing Plastic, and it made the business case for plastic. For example, cuts down costs by using more efficient energy sources to make the plastic, cutting down costs by promoting recycling and end of use and reuse of plastic, showing that it makes the company money to do that. Also, it puts the company in a better light with consumers. Consumers want to know that the companies are doing the best thing for the environment. They want them to consider what they call the plastic footprint, just like you would consider a carbon footprint.
Right.
From CO2 gases. They want businesses to consider the products that they make and the footprint that they're making and the impact that they're making, and take that information and go and make some changes in what they're doing.
What about the individual's role in this? What can we do?
Oh, there are a number of things. First of all, we won't have a problem or any bigger problem if we all take responsibility for not littering. Literally not throwing the plastic containers, the plastic bags. 1% of those are recycled, of those plastic bags. Clean up your beach. How did I get these plastic things? I went on a cleanup. Not that I want these things, but they are a symbol of what's what's coming out and not being picked up. In Hawaii, there was a beach cleanup that recovered 600 kilograms and this is just in one day of trash that included, almost 200,000 plastic fragments of things like this, bottles, toothbrushes, refrigerator doors, all these things. If we don't throw them away, they won't go into the ocean.
And again, that was VOA's Rosanne Skirble.